welcome. I'm Sabbi. I teach on the restorative faculty at Down Under Yoga. And in this class, we'll go over a very slow, gentle flow that I teach and take before Yoga Nidra. So the Sleep Soundly Yoga Nidra 3 nights a week at Down Under Yoga. And a good way to prepare for sleep, which is what Nidra means, is to just gently flow the body. Because what does a cat, if you've ever watched a cat or a puppy, what do they do before they go to sleep? They stretch. And so that is the intent of this half-hour practice. So all you will need for the practice is a pillow. If you have a yoga bolster, you could use that instead. But we'll start off by just sitting up. And you could sit up on your pillow if you wanted to, or on a blanket. Crossing the right shin in front. And then taking a long, deep breath in. And exhaling it out. And landing the hands on the thighs. It could be palms up. Could be palms down, whatever is comfortable on your shoulders, whatever feels comfortable to you with the hands. And then if it's comfortable for you, closing the eyes and taking a long, deep breath in through the nose and sighing it out through the mouth, perhaps with a little bit of vocalization, some speech, an ah. Just letting it go, and then moving the mouth a little bit just to work out some tension from the jaw. And then starting to roll your shoulders slowly back. So rolling them forward, up, back and down. And then starting to move the breath with that movement of the shoulders. So inhale, lifting the shoulders, and as you exhale, the shoulders reach the lowest part of the circle. And slowing the movement of the shoulders to match an even long breath. And with each exhale, as the shoulders reach the bottom of the circle, feel the hands a little heavier on the legs. So starting to let the legs hold the weight of the hands, of the forearms, rather than the shoulders holding that weight. And think of it as, if you've ever had that feeling when you put grocery bags down, heavy grocery bags, the shoulders feel light for just a moment, and seeing if you can capture that sense that you're putting weight down. And then circling the shoulders in the other direction. So now back, up, forward and down. And continuing those circles of movement. And feeling the continuation, the continuous flow of the circle. Continuous flow of the breath. And then coming to stillness for a moment and feeling that weight of the hands on the legs. And then on an inhale, lift the arms up above the head, palms face one another, fingertips stretching towards the ceiling, and seeing if you can find a sense of stretch along the sides of the body, so the stretch isn't from a lift of the shoulders. And as you exhale, starting to turn the chest, the arms, keeping the chin in line with the middle of the chest to the right, and then land the left hand to the outside of the right thigh, and the right hand is behind you, perhaps on tented fingertips, perhaps on your pillow. And then seeing if you can get a little extra lift and stretch from that hand behind you. And so thinking of your arms here and the breath as assistance for this posture. So on an inhale, the hand behind you roots to help you lift. And as you exhale, the hand to the outside of the right thigh, that's your left hand, turning you just a little more into this twist. And then coming back to center with the upper body, take the right hand to the outside of the right hip and start to walk the hand away from you. Lifting, yawning, stretching the left arm over the ear. So the left arm is framing the left ear, palm down, fingertips stretching, and keeping the left hip firming onto the mat as you stretch. And perhaps the face lifts, perhaps the eyes are closed, starting to feel where the body is in space from the inside, rather than using the eyes and the external to feel where you are, to know where you are. I think one more breath here, and then coming back to center, take the left leg out from under the right, place the left knee just outside of the right foot so that your legs are staggered beneath you, and now push into the right hand and lift the hips away from the mat, getting a stretch that runs all the way along the left side of the body, past the left hip to the outside of the left knee. Holding it here, and then exhaling, bringing the body back down to the mat and taking the left shin in front. And we'll take that twist, side bend, and big side bend in the other direction. So inhale, first in the center, finding your midline, and you're going to turn around that midline. And then as you exhale, starting to turn to the left, making sure that the right shoulder's not hunching forward. In fact, use that roll of the shoulders to find a little extra space. And now the right hand is working with the exhale to turn the left hand behind you, lifting and finding a little more height with each inhale. And perhaps the gaze turns over the left shoulder. If the eyes are closed, the face turns over the left shoulder. And taking a long, deep breath here. Exhaling it out. Finding your way into that twist. Seeing if you can find the space in the twist. And one more breath here. And then bringing yourself back to center. Left hand to the outside of the left hip. And swim, yawn, stretch the right arm over the right ear. Right palm down. Feeling the right hip firming onto the mat. So there's a sense of steadiness in the right hip. The sense of lift in the tips of the right fingers as you move into your side bend. Perhaps turning the face up towards the arm, feeling the space, the ether above you. The sense that the stars, the universe, that there's so much space above you and also below you. And then lifting yourself up and out, take the right leg out from underneath, right knee just under the bottom of the left foot now. Legs are staggered, and then inhale, lift and stretch. Taking a long, big stretch and feeling that space all the way on the outside of the right hip now. And again, perhaps closing your eyes here to find that inner sense of where you are on the mat, on your practice space. And then coming back to center, and we're going to move towards Sphinx now. So with Sphinx, you can take it supported or unsupported. If you're taking it supported, maybe grab your pillow, and the same pillow that you perhaps are about to sleep on, or another cushion or pillow will do. If you have a yoga bolster, that will do. And then turning down so that you're lying belly down on the mat. And the cushion, the pillow or cushion is quite a nice height compared to a bolster for this. Placing the elbows just in front of the cushion. It's also squishy. And the forearms are parallel to one another. And for a moment, stretching the crown of the head up towards the ceiling above you, feeling the steadiness of the feet on the mat behind you, and then relaxing it. So we often root to rise in Sphinx. And so on your inhale, feeling that root to rise. And then as you exhale, seeing if you can find a little softness. Again, the option to close the eyes. An option to start to feel the chin nod a little in the direction of the chest. And then we're going to turn to the side into the posture associated with nidra, with sleep, with cosmic sleep, in fact, in the Hindu texts and myths. And then stretch, legends, I should say. Stretch the legs long, so you're turning onto the left side of the body. Feet are stacked, or you could place the right foot in front of the left, and then the left elbow is bent, and the hand supporting the head. And perhaps turn the face up towards the ceiling, perhaps look straight in front of you, and then closing the eyes. Right hand can land on the side of the body, or you can place it on the mat or on the pillow in front of you. And then in your mind's eye, becoming aware of this gentle curve of the spine. You want to keep the neck on the same curve as the spine. This is like an elegant, soft, mathematical curve rising away along the spine from the mat. Take a breath here, and then coming back to Sphinx. So you're going to come back to center through Sphinx, and then turn the other way. So now the right side of the body is on the mat. Again, you can stagger the feet to help keep you balanced and supported. Right elbow bent and under the head. Left arm either in front of you for balance or along the left side of the body. And perhaps the gaze turns up towards the ceiling. And if there's anything that would make this posture even an ounce more comfortable, pausing and setting that up. So taking your time to carefully set up each posture. And it might feel nice, for example, to place a blanket beneath the hip, especially if the left hip is talking to you in this position, or feeling the ground beneath you in this position. Take another breath here, and then coming back to center towards Sphinx, and then bending the hips up and back and moving towards child's pose. You could stretch forward into puppy pose using a pillow or cushion to support the chest. First, take a couple of breaths there, and then come back to child's pose. And for child's, it can feel nice to turn your cushion so it's supporting the chest, and then turn the head to the side on the pillow. Taking a deep breath here and a long exhale out. Alternatives for child's, if the hips don't quite meet the heels, then you could take a cushion blanket pillow, place it between the heels and the hips, and then come down. And you can take as many pillows or cushions as you like. And in this position, the head would be center, forehead to the mat. Taking a moment to breathe into your child's pose, into that curve of the spine that we enter the world with. And feeling the forearms and the hands soften onto the mat. Feeling the breath even. And feeling the breath move. And then inhale without moving the hands, traction them gently on the mat to draw yourself up to a seated position. moving the pillow to the side if you're using it. And then coming towards a bridge position. So lying down on the mat. And then make sure you can touch the heels with the tip of the middle finger, that the feet are parallel to the edge of the mat, and that the knees and the feet are hips width distance apart. And from that position, inhale, lift the hips up towards bridge. And as you exhale, settle the hips back down. And then hold the right knee with the right palm. So the fingers are pointing away from you. Left knee with the left palm. And draw the legs in towards the chest. And again, taking this perhaps with the eyes closed. As you inhale, push the knees away so that until the feet land on the mat, and then arms by the side and lift the hips up to bridge without letting the knees splay apart. And then coming back down, flowing, drawing the knees back in towards the chest on the exhale. Inhale, pushing the knees away. Landing the feet on the mat on the exhale, and then inhale, lift the hips up away from the mat. So you're flowing between bridge and building in Uppanasana, which is this movement of the knees towards the chest with the exhale and pushing the knees away with the inhale. And really use your arms to make that movement. Your legs might have been working all day. And so giving them a break, guiding them with the hands. And then the next time you reach bridge, linger there and slide. If you have a yoga block, you could use a yoga block, or you can use your pillow or cushion under the hips and land them in your supported bridge. Arms can be long by the side, or you could bend the elbows, land the hands on the belly. You can place a second pillow or cushion so that it forms an upside down T and supports your back too here. So lots of options. And the nice thing about working with these postures at home is that you have all kinds of props around you that you could use so you can settle into each posture. Another option here would be to add a blanket or a cushion on the belly. The weight of the hands might be enough. Just a little bit of weight that's not onerous, but that for some bodies can feel steadying on the belly. And if you wanted to hit pause here and linger here, you most certainly could. And then pushing the feet into the mat. Lift the hips up away from the mat. Slide the pillow out from beneath you and land the hips back on the mat. Now draw the knees in towards the chest and let them drop softly to the right as you keep the arms at a T at shoulder height. And you could bend the elbows, bring the hands in towards the head. So keep the elbows where they are and just bend the elbows so that forearms end up framing the head. And perhaps turning the head to face away from the right side of your practice space. So you're moving into a supine twist. If you'd like a final stretch for the legs, stretch the right leg long on the mat, left leg out to the left, or hold the legs steady with the knees bent. And then finding that same assistance with the breath that you found in our very first postures, but now without effort, without the arms helping. Feeling the shoulder blades anchored on the ground, and perhaps if the legs are floating, slide your pillow beneath the shins. And with each inhale, feeling length. With each exhale, dropping a little more deeply into the posture. And noting how some of our deepest twists actually come when we move away from pulling, cranking, moving with the muscles, and just let gravity draw the body down towards the mat. And then bringing the knees up to center as you turn the face up to center too, and letting the knees drop the other way to the left as perhaps the face, the head turns to the right. Closing the eyes, and here taking an extra deep inhale in and exhaling it out. And imagining it, and that you're lying on sand, that there's an imprint of you beneath you, and that with each exhale is ever so slightly deepening, is ever so slightly spreading as the muscles soften into this posture, into this asana. Taking a couple more breaths here, and then bringing the knees back to center and lengthening the legs along the mat. And now you could take your pillow or cushion and place it beneath the knees, just for a little extra support behind the knees. So feeling the knees bent and relaxing into the posture, and finding your way into Shavasana. Eyelids draping softly over the eyes. Arms either long by the sides and away from the sides of the body, so that the muscles of breath can fully expand. Feeling the breath moving the chest upward and sideways with each inhale, and the body land with each exhale as you find your way to harbor, as you find your way home to Shavasana. If you'd like to stay in Shavasana longer, staying right where you are. If you are ready to move off the mat, gently drawing the knees in towards the chest. And if you're staying longer in Shavasana, you could pause the video, of course. And just for a moment, drawing the knees in towards the chest and taking that Upanasana flow again. So inhale, pushing the knees away with the hands. Exhale, drawing them in. And then as you're ready, turning to one side or the other, using the lower arm as a pillow and just land. So moving, easing your way out of the practice, especially if you're now heading to bed, for example. Breathing on your side for a moment. Feeling the eyes draping over the eyelids for a few more breaths. And then pushing the hands into the mat, lifting yourself up and out. Lifting the arms up until the palms meet above the head, perhaps lifting the face, eyes open or closed towards the sky, the ceiling, and then draw the hands down your steady midline in front of you. Land the thumbs on the sternum. Nod the head towards the hands. And take a moment to feel the rise and fall of your breath. If you'd like to close your practice with the syllable Om, moving towards that vibration now. And thank you for joining me on Down Under anytime.